Jarrad Mahon here from Investors Edge Real Estate, bringing you my Perth property update for July. Now, pretty excited to take you through the market, so grab a coffee and sit tight. I've titled this Perth property update Balancing Act, and what we've got going on in our market at the moment, if you picture a bit of a seesaw, we've got some negative factors pushing our market down, and they would be the uncertainty around our election. We've also got the mining industry slowing down, and we've got the economy being brought back and tightened to bring us back into a budget, so that we're not in deficit anymore. So those factors are negative to our economy. The mining, we've got the election, and we've got the tightening of the budget. What we have to offset that, and it's a very blunt instrument, the property market has been offsetting that, those negative factors, and we actually need the property market to succeed, otherwise our whole economy is going to go down the toilet. So our blunt instrument for doing that is our interest rates, and I'm just going to take you through what's happening in the rental market and in the sale market, and why we need a number of interest rates before the end of the year to keep this balancing act going. Now, we're in a seller's market in Perth, and I've put together a lovely little graph here, being the engineer I used to be, showing that at the start of the year in January, we had 9,285 properties for sale, and that dropped month on month, 9,000, 8,500, to our low point in April of 7,885. So we were in a real seller's market then, properties selling really quickly, and turnover at April was across the whole market. Since then, back in May, I wrote a Perth property update called Potential Turning Points, and that's when I noticed that the market had started going back the other way at 8,500 properties for sale. During June, I came to you and I said, not much has changed, guys. I'm keeping an eye on it, and we still held tight. Now, what's happened this month in checking things is we're back up now at around 9,000, which was the case in February. So the market's definitely softening, and we're finding that properties are sitting a little longer for sale. We're still in a seller's market, but this trend is definitely going back the other way. These negatives are having their effect, and we've got to get an interest rate reduction by the RBA to get us back and start correcting things, because otherwise we'll be going back to a neutral market, which is usually at about 10 to 11,000 listings, and then above that we're in a buyer's market. So things are turning around, things are softening, and look out for that interest rate drop, because the whole economy needs it. Now, that's the sale market. When I look across at what's happening in the rental market, now the last 4 to 6 weeks, we've been finding it really difficult, a lot more difficult to rent properties. When you jump on realestate.com, instead of 2 or 3 properties for rent in a suburb, we've got 6, we've got 8. Competition. For the first time, agents are advertising a week's free rent for a tenant just to incentivise them, just to get them in. And we started anecdotally seeing that the managers and leasing specialists having a lot more trouble finding those tenants with the extra competition, and that's been reflected in the vacancy rate. So I've gone and done the numbers, and from January this year, when we were at our tightest, we were at 1.9% vacancy rate, and it was just really hovering at that 1.92% up until April. You can see there. Up until mid-April, we were at that point, and then from there, we've really started to soften. In May, June and July, we're now up at 3.2%. So that's a considerable increase from back at 2%, and it's no longer a given to find a tenant quickly. We need to get as much lead time in the changeover of tenants, 2 to 3 weeks lead time, and we need to be listening for feedback, pricing the property sharply to attract interest, and then getting a quality tenant selected from that pool. So why is the rental market softening? Well, we can look at where all of our buyers in our sale market have been coming from. You can see news in the media at the moment saying cheaper to buy than rent. I saw an article the other day, it's actually cheaper to buy in 78 Perth suburbs than it is to rent. And so what we're finding is as tenants are leaving the rental market, going and buying in the sale market, we've now got less tenants, less competition, and our rental market's softening. So that's a full cap for you on what's happening in the sale market, the rental market, and come and check us out again next month, and I'll keep you updated. Thanks.